The boys at the wiffle ball station, Don, Bill, Gionni, and Tom, decide that it's time for a break. Don was in the lead while Gionni was second. Brad was trailing behind Bill. They walked around the side of the house and headed towards the patio table to try some of Gianni's food. They began to fill their plates and take their seats at the table. Cara was standing at the cocktail table, cleaning up and refreshing the liquor bottles on the cart. "Hey, how's the game going?" she asked her husband. Gionni, still munching on his food, answers with his mouth full. "We're taking a break. Don's in the lead." Bill pats his stomach. "And I'm starving. I'm gonna grab something to eat." Tom chimes in jokingly. "Yeah, that's because you're losing." Bill narrowed his eyes. "Sorry I'm not a top champ like the rest of yous," he snickers. "I'll get better with time." Brad chuckles at that. "Yeah, right. You had lots of time. I think you're just a bad player," he teased. Bill formed a smirk and shrugged. "I'll show you up at lawn bowling, though. I'm the best player." Don laughed. "Sure, whatever you say, Bill." Tom interrupts. "Bill, you suck at sports. Admit it." Bill rolls his eyes. "Oh, shut up, Tom." Tom grins. "I'm just being honest, buddy." Don chuckles and adds, "Yeah, Tom's right. You need to face the facts, Bill." Cara and Gionni chuckle at the boys' playful banter. "You guys are too much. Arguing like little boys on the baseball team," Cara says. "There's plenty to do here. Maybe Bill will show you guys up and we'll just have to see," Cara smirked. "Ha! I'd like to see him try," Don exclaimed. Tom and Gionni both laughed, amused by the banter. Bill just rolled his eyes and muttered under his breath. The boys from the lawn bowling station pause their game and come back around to the yard to have a snack. They notice the other guys there and greet one another as they ask each other how their game is going. Craig is winning the game at around 18 points while Brad is trailing behind him at 12. Jorge is in last place of the group with 5 points, followed by Pete at 8 and Richard at 11. Craig walks over to the table and takes a seat between Brad and Don. "Hey fellas, how's it going?" he greets the other guys. Don smiles. "Not bad, I'm kicking their asses at the wiffle ball station." Craig chuckles. "Is that right? Which one of your buddies is winning so far?" Don points to himself. "I am." Brad sighs. "Yeah, he's pretty good at it." Pete leans in. "Maybe he can give us some pointers later." "Don's gonna have to give some pointers to Bill as well. He's doing absolutely terrible," Tom chuckled. "Oh, come on, guys. I'm not that bad," Bill protested. "I'm just not as good as all of you." Don grinned. "You need to practice more, buddy." "Maybe you guys could do a practice round while we all head into something else." "I'm all for giant Jenga if anyone wants to join me," Gionni stands up tall. "That sounds awesome. I'm in," Richard nodded. "Yeah, me too," said Pete. Brad shrugged. "Sure, why not?" Tom nodded. "I'm down." The 5 of them finished their snacks, chucking the paper plates into the trash as they followed Gionni to the giant Jenga game by the deck. The game was positioned on a side table so that all they had to do was set it up. Gionni volunteered to go first. The other guys formed a circle around the game, excited to start. Gionni takes a deep breath and then very slowly removes a brick from one of the middle layers. All the guys watch with bated breaths, waiting to see if the tower would fall. Surprisingly, the tower didn't fall. The guys in the group let out a collective sigh of relief. "Wow, good job, G," Pete commented. "Yeah, that was a dangerous one," Brad piped. Tom nodded. "You've got some skills." Don and Bill watched in the background, curious about how the game would go. Don chuckled playfully at Gionni as he knew he had some competition. Don clapped Gionni on the back. "He's just showing off now." Gionni smiled proudly. "Show off? Me? Never." The other guys laughed and teased Gionni. "Oh, please. You love to show off, G." Brad rolled his eyes. "I've seen you play this game before." "That I do," Gionni chuckles. "But don't worry, you can still beat me." While the 5 of them were getting comfortable with the giant Jenga game, Craig and Jorge finished eating and decided that they wanted to face off in a 1v1 game of lawn bowling. They also wanted to practice because they both knew they couldn't be as good as Brad was. Don decided to practice hitting wiffle balls with Bill. He couldn't stand seeing his new buddy be terrible at the game and wanted to give him some pointers on how to take the lead. Don went in the opposite direction of Craig and Jorge, leading Bill back over to the wiffle ball station by the garage. "All right, my friend, let's get you some pointers," Don said confidently. Bill groaned. "I don't know, man. I think I'm a lost cause," he replied sarcastically. Don chuckled at Bill. "Nah, you just need some practice. I'll teach you my secret." Bill rolled his eyes. "Secret, right? Well, let's see it." Don grins. "All right, just watch and learn, my friend." He picks up the bat by the pitcher's mound and assumes a solid batter stance. "Watch my footwork," Don explains. "You gotta have your feet set at an angle to have a balanced stance." Bill nodded. He assumed a battering stance similar to Don's. Feet apart, knees slightly bent, and bat held in both hands. Don chuckled. You've got a good stance. Now you need to work on your arm position. Don demonstrated different arm positions for his bat. Find what feels comfortable for you. Bill attempted holding the bat in different positions Don had demonstrated. He was a little unsure at first, but found comfortability in the positions soon enough. He looked at Don, waiting for his next instructions. Don nodded, approving of Bill's positions. Yep, that looks right. Now your swing. You're pretty powerful, which is good. I do bench press 215. Of course I'm powerful, Bill chuckled. Anyways, what's next? Don smirked. Okay, Mr. Powerful. What I need you to do is start with a solid swing and make contact to the ball. Bill nodded and focused on the task at hand. He adjusted his stance, raised the bat in his hand, and prepared for the incoming wiffle balls. Don picked up a wiffle ball and threw it underhand, expecting Bill to swing and miss. But to his surprise, Bill made solid contact to the ball and sent it flying. He chuckled at his victory. Whoa, that felt good, man. Don smirked, impressed by Bill's quick progress. Not bad for your first try. Now do that again. Try swinging a bit higher. Bill nodded and went back into his batting stance, ready to swing again. He took a deep breath and focused his sights on the ball. Don gently threw another wiffle ball underhand, and again, Bill made solid contact, sending it flying. The ball flew much further and higher this time. Don watched the ball sail through the air, impressed with Bill's swing. Damn, you're a natural, buddy. You seem to be a fast learner. Bill smiled, feeling proud of himself. I told you I could do it. Don chuckled. Yeah, you did. Keep it up and you'll be catching up to me real soon. Bill was doing well with his training coach Don. Gionni was kicking ass over at Jenga and leaving the boys in shock. Jorge was getting better at lawn bowling, but Craig was still in the lead by 10 points. Over at croquet, Carole was carrying everyone while Christina just sat back and watched. She admitted herself she was a sore loser. By the second round, she had decided to sit out. Rebecca was second, shooting every fastball that came her way. Over at Horseshoes, Susan and Hillary were no match against their friend Tanya. She was making every shot, and Nicole was standing there watching and hyping her girlfriend up. Cara was sitting at the patio table, taking a little break herself. She was happy to see everyone getting along and having fun playing the games at her party. Michelle and Liz finished their cigarettes and came back around to the yard. They noticed everyone being competitive and enjoying themselves. They decided that they would avoid Christina as much as possible and join the lawn bowling group. Jorge was happy to see his girlfriend join them. He was getting pretty bored of getting his ass kicked over and over by Craig with no redemption. Liz decided to play as well, knowing she wasn't too good at the game either. Craig was leading the game with 17, and Jorge only had 4 points. As Liz and Michelle joined their game, they were struggling to score any points as they were still learning. Come on, you two. You can't be that bad, Craig teased. He was having a lot of fun with the ladies on his team, considering they looked stunning in their summer attire. He couldn't help but notice it. Maybe we need some pointers here, guys, Michelle replied jokingly. Craig chuckled. Yeah, you guys need all the help you can get. Jorge and I are destroying you guys at this game. Jorge nodded. Yeah, step your game up. Liz rolled her eyes playfully and smiled. We'll try our best. Craig smirked at their playful banter. All right, ladies, let me help you. He grabbed a white ball and walked over to them. Michelle smiled at Craig as he stood next to her. Sure, you go ahead and give us some pointers. All right, first you gotta find a comfortable stand. Craig showed them the proper way to stand. Don't hunch over the ball too much. He bent over and picked up a ball, then stood up. He demonstrated the proper stance for them. Liz and Michelle took notes on his stance, watching him intently. So you gotta stand with your feet shoulder-width apart and bend your knees a bit, he explained. Michelle nodded and copied his stance, and Liz did the same. Craig stepped back and let Liz and Michelle have a few tries. All right, try to throw the ball underhand and just focus on keeping your arms straight and wrists steady. No jerking or sudden movements. Your arms should do all the work and not your wrists, he instructed them. Just throw nice and easy. Michelle picked up a ball and threw it down the lane. Her ball wobbled a bit, but she managed to get a strike. Yeah, nice job, Craig calls out, clapping his hands. Liz nodded. Not bad, Michelle. I guess I'll give it a go. Liz stood up confidently and threw the ball. It was a decent throw, but a little short. She just barely missed the strike. Oh, so close, she murmured. Michelle patted her on the back. Don't worry, you got it. Craig nodded in agreement and encouraged her to try again. It was a good throw. You're doing good, he said. The girls playing croquet were having a good time, even though a few of them were getting frustrated at each other's lack of skill. Liz and Michelle were improving with every throw and were getting pretty good at it. Don was getting increasingly stressed at the wiffle ball station because of Bill's lack of skill, but Bill was having the time of his life even though he was getting absolutely whooped. Gionni was still kicking everyone's asses in the Jenga game. Craig came over to watch Gionni take a turn, and he was completely shocked at how great Gionni was doing. Craig chuckled and shook his head in disbelief. How the hell are you so good at this game? Craig couldn't help but question him. Gionni just shrugged nonchalantly as he took a new turn. I'm just good, I guess. He chuckled at his skills. Craig, Tom, and Jorge had a puzzled look on their faces as they watched Gionni. Dude, you're some kind of Jenga legend. Tom laughed. Seriously, give us some tips. The guys dispersed from their games and joined Gionni with the rest of the guys as they played Jenga. Tanya won the horseshoes game against her girlfriend Nicole, Hillary, and Susan. They were standing at the cocktail table and enjoying a beverage after their rowdy game. Meanwhile, at the croquet station by the garden, Rebecca and Carla won in a tie. The rest of the girls placed, except for Christina, who gave up shortly after she got her ass kicked and there was no return. They walked over to the table, coming as well, chit-chatting with the other girls and enjoying beverages by the patio table. After Liz and Michelle finished their private practice at lawn bowling with Craig and Jorge, they also joined the girls at the table. Cara was surveying the boys' Jenga game, but came over to see her friends after she saw them all coming over to take a break. The girls were all chatting and enjoying their drinks. They were all catching up on gossip and laughing at the guys' rowdy games. How was the lawn bowling? Cara asked Michelle and Liz. You all seemed like you were having a good time. Michelle nodded. Yeah, we had a bit of help. Craig and Jorge gave us a few pointers. As the sun sets, the guys finished their Jenga game and everyone was preparing to head out. Cara mixed a few more drinks and started wrapping up some of the food out on the table before everyone leaves. Everyone was getting ready to leave, having a good time, even though most of them were a little sunburned and a bit drunk. Cara was cleaning up around the area, cleaning up the food and disposing of the empty bottles. A few of the guests were starting to leave. Carla, Carole, Tom, and Brad. Cara exchanges goodbyes with them as they head out. They say goodbye to Michelle and Gionni. They thank Cara so much for hosting this gathering. Carla and Carole exchange their goodbyes with the girls. Have a good night, Cara. Thank you so much for hosting us, Carla says, giving her a hug. Of course. I'm glad you guys had fun. See you soon, Cara says. Gionni waves to the guys heading out and thanks them for joining. The four of them were on their way out. Next to leave was Susan and Hillary. They exchanged their goodbyes with everyone and then wished Cara and Gionni a good night. Susan and Hillary followed the path around the side of the house and up to the driveway. Cara picked up some plates, plastic silverware, and empty cups on the table and placed them in a large black trash bag. As she's clearing up the table, Nicole and Tanya exchange their goodbyes with the group and then say goodbye to Cara. Have a lovely night, Cara, Nicole says, giving her a hug. Thank you guys so much for coming. I hope you had a lovely time, Cara says, smiling widely. We definitely enjoyed ourselves. We'll see you soon, Nicole waves, following her girlfriend up the path to the driveway. Christina and Bill are next to leave. Bill says goodbye to the guys and thanks them for a fun time. He dabs Don up in a thank you for teaching him how to play wiffle ball correctly. He had a fun time at his first gathering with all the boys. Hey, have a good night, Cara. This was the most fun I've had in a while. Thank you for hosting, Bill says, saluting to Cara. Oh, I'm so happy to hear you had a good time, Bill. It was nice seeing you get along with the guys. I hope you'll come to another event soon, Cara says cheerfully. Bill smiles and jingles his car keys. I'll meet you in the car, babe. I'm ready to go whenever you are, Bill says, waving. Christina smiles. Okay, honey. She heads over to exchange her goodbyes with the remaining girls and guys. Once she reaches Cara, she takes a long sigh, getting ready to say something slightly important. Cara, I'm so sorry about earlier. I had no right bringing up Liz's situation. It was very wrong of me, and I clearly need some guidance on how to read the room, she sighs before continuing. Other than that, I had a lovely time. You and Gionni really know how to throw a party, and I'm very appreciative of it. I don't know if I'll ever be allowed back in your house, but if you choose not to invite me to another party, I will understand. I've apologized to Liz already, so I just wanted to tell you how sorry I am as well. Christina tells Cara her half-hearted apology. Thank you, Christina. That was very nice of you, Cara says, folding up the tablecloth. But don't think like that. I didn't invite you into this friend group to push you out immediately. It's true, you do need to read the room and clean up your act a little bit, but who doesn't have that problem? It's okay. I forgive you, Cara sighed. Thank you, Cara. Well, I hope you have a lovely night. Christina smiles and waves, seeing her way out. Pete and Richard head out next, saying goodbye to Cara and Gionni, and wishing them a good night. Thanks for playing, Gionni called out, waving. Craig says his goodbyes to the guys and girls while Maria does the same. She hugged Michelle, Liz, and Rebecca, wishing them all a good night. Have a good night, Cara, Maria says, exchanging a kiss with her. Thank you. I hope you guys had a lovely time, Cara nods and continues cleaning. Maria and Craig both nod, heading out. Michelle and Jorge leave next, saying goodbye to the remaining guests. Thank you for helping me today, Michelle. I couldn't have done it without you. Of course, Cara. I'm here whenever you need me, Michelle smiles. Have a good night, Cara. Thank you for having me. Jorge smiles shyly. Of course. You have a good night as well, Cara smiles, waving the two of them out. Don waves goodbye to Rebecca and Liz sitting at the cocktail table. He didn't want to interrupt their conversation, so he silently waved and mouthed goodbye to the two of them. Don heads over to say goodbye to Gionni as he's cleaning up the games around the yard. Good to see you, man. Had a lot of fun with you today. Thanks for playing, Gionni says graciously. Don exchanged a hug and a dab with Gionni. Thank you for hosting. I had a great time. Don heads over to Cara before he leaves, exchanging a goodbye and a quick chat. Cara, I just wanted to thank you for this lovely party. I wanted to thank Liz as well, but she's having a conversation with Rebecca and I don't want to disturb her. I really appreciate her for initiating the conversation we needed to have. Although, I am a little worried for her after what you confessed to me about how Michael is treating her. I promise I will keep my boundaries at arm's length at the workplace, and keep my space from her situation or any triggering arguments. We had a really good talk, and I really don't want to fuck up our friendship or work relationship with something as silly as that. Don nodded, putting in a good word for Liz. Cara touches her heart as she listened to Don speak. Thank you for saying that, Don. I am glad to hear that. I just didn't want things to take a turn, and I'm glad you guys worked it out. Yes, giving her some space is probably the best option. I'm not sure how she's planning on handling the whole situation, but she knows that she has friends and people around her to support her during this tough time. And that's all we can do right now, Cara says in sincerity. Don nodded, agreeing with Cara's statement. All right, I'm glad we could agree. I'm gonna head out now. Have a good night, Cara. Don waves and sees himself out. Cara finished cleaning the mess on the patio table and moves on to cleaning the cocktail area. She puts the leftovers in Tupperware containers and takes the bottles off the cocktail cart, placing them on the patio table. Gionni was cleaning up the games around the yard while Rebecca and Liz were huddled together at the cocktail table. To take a brief break from cleaning, Cara grabbed a glass of sparkling water and sat down. Rebecca and Liz were deep in their conversation about Michael. They hadn't noticed Cara sitting next to them yet. Cara was drinking her water slowly and silently, trying not to overhear the conversation. Christina bringing up my situation about Michael was completely out of line, though. And the way she tried to apologize to me seemed so fabricated as well. I knew she wasn't sincere about it. She just likes to knock others when she knows she's down. It's incredibly annoying, Liz shakes her head. Now I have to go home and get ready to face this? When she's the voice in my head making snarky little side comments and acting like she knows everything about me? She acts so tough. I would love to see her take a shot at me. She wouldn't even get that far, Liz chuckled. She probably wouldn't. She runs her mouth too much to do anything, Rebecca sighs, making a face at the mention of Christina. Cara took a sip of her sparkling water, remaining silent as she observed the conversation. She felt a small sense of discomfort as the topic turned to Michael and the events that had unfolded. She knew her friends hadn't noticed her presence yet, and she wasn't sure whether to make her presence known or continue listening. Rebecca continued, So, Liz, any ideas for how you're going to start the separation process? I mean, I know there's no way you're planning on staying with him if he's hurting you. I promise I didn't hear anything Michelle told Cara. Cara's ears perked up at the mention of her name. She leaned in slightly to hear the conversation better. Liz sighed heavily, running a hand through her hair in frustration. I honestly don't know, she admitted. It's so difficult because I love him. I do. But his anger issues, they make it so hard. Liz's voice seemed to tremble just saying it out loud. She hated even thinking about it. I understand, but Liz, the longer you wait, the worse it'll get. The best thing to do right now is to go to your lawyer's office and tell him you're planning on taking action to your marriage. It is the best thing to do right now because you will feel better that you have someone on your side. I promise you'll feel relieved when it's over. Liz takes a deep breath before giving a nod. I think you're right, she agrees, rubbing her forehead like she had a headache coming on. It's so hard, though. I just know he's going to make it difficult. He'll try to manipulate me and make me think that I need him, that I can't survive without him. But you can, Rebecca cuts in. You're a strong, capable woman. You don't need him. You have your family, and you have all of us to lean on. And you have lawyers. They'll help you, Rebecca says, gently, putting a hand on Liz's shoulder. It's scary having to make a big change like this, but you have to remember that you deserve better than being stuck in an abusive relationship. You deserve happiness and peace. Liz nods again, a tear rolling down her cheek. She whispers, I just hope I'm strong enough to do it. Rebecca squeezes Liz's shoulder gently. You are strong enough, she says firmly. You've been through things most people wouldn't be able to handle, and you're still here. You know you deserve better than this, and I'll be here for you every step of the way, as will all of our friends. Liz takes a deep breath, nodding again. I know you're right, she says. I just need to take the first step. And you will, Rebecca affirms, giving Liz's shoulder another reassuring squeeze. It's going to be scary and hard, but I promise you, it'll be worth it in the end. Liz smiles weakly, appreciating the pep talk. As Liz and Rebecca's conversation continued, Cara felt a strong urge to step in and support her friend. Taking a deep breath, she cleared her throat. I'm sorry to interrupt, she said calmly, but I couldn't help but overhear your conversation. Liz and Rebecca turned their heads to look at her, surprised to hear her voice. How long have you been sitting there? Rebecca asked, a slight embarrassment to her tone. Cara shrugged, trying to seem casual. Not too long, she said. I just didn't want to intrude on your conversation. Liz looked relieved to have Cara chime in. No, you're not intruding at all, she said. I'm glad you're here, actually. I need all the support I can get right now. Cara smiles gently. Of course, Liz. We're all here for you. You know that. She reaches over and pats Liz's knee comfortingly. You're not alone in this. Liz sniffles, dabbing at the tears on her cheeks. I know, she replies. And I'm grateful for that. Thank you guys, really. She rubs her forehead again. I just need to figure out what my next steps are. And you will, Cara reassures her friend. It's going to take some time, though. You can't just wake up tomorrow and expect to have everything figured out. Liz nods. I know. It's just so hard not to want it to be magically fixed right now. I just want this all to be over with. I understand, Liz. But get these first steps going and you should be fine. You know you can always call me if you need anything. I'm gonna head out now because I've definitely overstayed my welcome, Rebecca chuckled, glaring at Cara. Cara smiled. Oh, Rebecca, stop it. You can stay as long as you like. You know this. Have a good night, sweetheart, Cara waves as she notices Rebecca stand up. Thank you, honey. You too. Rebecca stands up to hug Liz. You're gonna be okay, babe. You got people to support you and push you through this process, Rebecca smiled. Liz smiled and released the hug. Thank you, she sniffled. I'm very lucky to have you guys in my life, she says. Rebecca heads out, waving to both of the girls as she heads out, leaving Liz and Cara alone at the table. Gionni finishes cleaning up outside, putting everything back into the shed. He collects the Tupperware off the patio table and heads inside to clean up the kitchen. Liz, you have nothing to worry about. You know I'm always here if you need me, Cara says, giving Liz a hand squeeze. Thank you, Cara. I don't know how to thank you. You continue to help me and do so much for me. You have no idea how much I appreciate it. If I could ask the smallest favor, I would just like to keep this between the three of us. I don't want others in the group hearing shit and speculating things. I'm sure you understand. Christina's statement was completely out of line, and she had no right doing that. I just want to prevent that from happening again, so please keep this on the down low. I'm sure we know how fast things travel in this group by now. Liz says, chuckling a little. I'm gonna get going soon, though. It's getting a little late, and I don't want Michael to be yelling at me if I get home too late. She frowned a little, giving Cara a small hug. Cara nodded as she listened to Liz's words, understanding the delicacy of the situation. Of course, Liz. I won't say a word to anyone. Your privacy and well-being are important to me, and I won't betray your trust like that. As Liz mentioned about getting home late, her tone took on a little hint of worry, which didn't go unnoticed by Cara. Liz, you know you don't have to rush home just because Michael might be upset if you're late, right? Liz shrugged, trying to downplay the situation. I know, but you know how he gets when I'm late. It's just easier to avoid the argument, you know? Cara regarded her with concern, her eyebrows slightly furrowed. She didn't like the sound of this dynamic at all. It's not your responsibility to tiptoe around his moods, Liz. I know. It's just... Liz sighed. It's just easier than fighting with him. It's easier than dealing with his mood swings and his outbursts. It's easier to avoid the conflict altogether. Cara didn't like how Liz seemed to be justifying Michael's behavior, but she knew that she had to be careful with her words. But Liz, that's not how it should be. You shouldn't have to walk on eggshells in your own relationship. Liz sighed, knowing that Cara was right, but feeling powerless to change the situation. I know. It's just, sometimes it feels like it's easier to just keep the peace, to just do what he says and avoid the fight. Cara looked at Liz with a mix of concern and empathy. But you deserve better than that, Liz. You deserve someone who treats you with respect and kindness, someone who doesn't make you feel like you have to constantly walk on eggshells just to keep the peace. But it's so hard, Liz's voice trembled. I've been with him for so long, and it's all I know. I just don't know how to break free. Cara squeezed Liz's hand, her heart hurting for her friend. It's going to be hard, I won't lie, but you have the strength to do it. And you have me, and Rebecca, and all of our friends. We're here to support you every step of the way. Liz nodded, accepting Cara and her friend's help. Thank you, Cara. I enjoyed this little pep talk. Thank you for hosting and talking some sense into me. Have a good night, she says, standing up to give her a hug. You're welcome, Liz, Cara responded, returning her friend's hug. And please remember, I'm here for you whenever you need me. Don't hesitate to call or come over any time, okay? Liz smiled weakly, appreciating Cara's support. I will, I promise. Thank you, Cara. I don't know what I would do without you. Good night. And with that, Liz walked away, heading for the driveway. After Liz leaves, Cara collects the rest of the alcohol off the cart and carries the remaining food inside. She heads into the kitchen to see her husband and takes a heavy sigh as she tries to collect her words. Not only was she tired, but she was also stressed about how the whole party went. The Liz and Don situation was solved, but now she had something worse to worry about. Liz was getting ready to separate her husband, and while she knew she had to be there to support and offer her help, she was just stressed about how everything would go. Instead of bringing up the problem to Gionni, she decided to stay quiet and just enjoy his company. There was a bit of awkward silence between them as they started to clean up the kitchen and the bar. Rebecca and Cara agreed to support Liz throughout her journey. They help her get connected with the resources she needs, including therapy, and are consistently there for her, checking in on her and offering a safe place for her to stay if she chooses to leave her abusive relationship. As Liz begins to heal and rebuild her life, she is grateful for the support of her friends. While she still has difficult moments, she finds strength in her support system and is determined to move towards a brighter future.